So I'm not going to enter into details, just to mention that IMI has a governing board, an executive director, and a scientific committee. As I've mentioned before, we have an annual meeting open to all stakeholders. We have the state's representative group, and then obviously we will expect that all these pieces of the puzzle are going to fall into place, and there will be a good discussion and good interaction amongst all these participants to the activity. So, going a little bit more into detail about how does IMI work, the project funding via the combined contribution from the European Commission funds for academia, public organizations, SMEs, special associations, and the private, as I was mentioning, in the form of in-kind contribution from the participating pharmaceutical companies. The average project size is 20 million euros, so it is a considerable amount. And after the first call, the full consortium participants averaged approximately 9 to 16 pharmaceutical companies, 9 to 37 academic, SME, regulatory, and patient organizations. So it can be extremely variable, from a relatively smaller number to a large number of participants, depending on the type of the proposal. So I'm going to go and talk a little bit about the call process. So we go first through the call definition with the research agenda, the annual implementation plan, the call for topics, then an evaluation at the first stage with expressions of interest, the first peer review, and then the invitation to join for full proposal projects. And then the second stage of evaluation with a full proposal, the second peer review, and obviously the successful selected projects going through a grant agreement and the project agreement. As I was mentioning, the IMI project must include at least 2 FPI member companies and 2 legal entities who are not members of FPI and who are eligible and receiving IMI funding. The participants in the project should have the capacity to carry out the work themselves, and the project budgets shall aim to that 50-50 ratio. So, of course, that a partnership between public and private entities will be challenging in some circumstances, and will have to somehow change behaviors. Obviously, the academic institutions or different pharmaceutical companies are perceived by the public at large as being competitors rather than collaborators. Obviously that in these projects they should be partners. Obviously, honesty versus long-term team consensus versus a short-term individual advantage. The principle of fairness, obviously that intellectual property policy has to be well defined in order to ensure wide access to results by providing incentive for all the actors to participate, providing a fair return on investment. The courage to work out of the traditional roles and comfort zones, reliability for deliverables with very high interdependence. But obviously, maybe it is a paradigm shift, but the gain is sure, and the gain is to be part of an exciting new way of bringing the best ideas to reality. So if we are looking at what has been done, the first call for proposals, we had 18 called topics, 16 safety, 7 in efficacy, and 5 in education and training. 134 expressions of interest were evaluated, almost 1,300 applicants, 18 full project proposals were received and evaluated, and from those 15 projects were selected, and they are in the final stages of negotiation, estimated to finish and not to start. The projects are expected to start in Q4 or Q1 of 2010. And the overall budget, 246 million euros. And just a notice, the peer review process is quite serious, so we encourage everyone to look attentively at the call topics and take notice that despite the fact that there have been 18 full proposals submitted, only 15 were considered to be above the threshold in all aspects and are now in the final phases of negotiation. I'm not going to enter into the names of the selected projects, but as you see there, both in safety and efficacy, there is also a training program and a pharmacovigilance program on the top of some projects where we are looking at the safety of medicine. So what about the second call for proposals? Hopefully we will have it open in the coming days. The deadline for submission of expression of interest has been set for 8th of February of 2010. This time around, there are 9 topics in efficacy, targeting inflammation, infectious disease and cancer, and knowledge management. The available financial contribution to projects from IMI-GU, 76.8 million euros, and the estimated FPI in-kind contribution, 79.6 million. You will find on the IMI website the call documents, and we hope that if you have questions, they can be very professionally answered to the info desk, and the information is also included here on the slide. This afternoon, all the second call topics are going to be better discussed by my colleagues. So again, I'm not going to enter into details about that. But I'm going to go straight and thank you for your attention and turn it to Jackie Hunter for her presentation. Thank you.